So, good day everyone. So, we are now in the last lesson of chapter 3, which is the measure of position. Okay, so for learning outcome, at the end of the lesson, you should be able to identify position of the data value in the data set using various measure of position such as the percentile, decile, and then the quartile. So, I don't know if you're familiar with this one. And if so, let's have a review and some further and deep explanation and knowledge about this topic. So in addition to the measure of central tendency and measure of variation, so there is another measure in description or data description, which is the measure of position or location. So these measures includes the standard score, the percentiles, deciles, and then quartiles. So they are used to locate the relative position of the value in the data set. So in an old saying, so some say that you cannot compare apples to orange. So it is true because they are different kind of fruits. So we cannot compare it literally, but with the use of statistics, it can be done to some extent. So, for example, okay, so you cannot compare directly your score in English and then in mathematics. Okay, so you cannot compare it directly. Okay, but for example, with direct comparison of raw score, it is impossible because there are something to be considered. For example, the number of items in mathematics and then comparing to the number of items in English. Okay, so another thing to consider is the level of difficulty of each question. So it can be, say, in English, so some exam are needs the analogy, something like that, reading comprehension, and then while in mathematics you need to solve, okay, you need to analyze, okay, so something like that. So but if we're going to compare the relative standard similar to both uh, it can be made. Okay, this comparison uses the mean and standard deviation, and that is called the standard score or the C-score. So this is standard score. So what is standard score or C-score? Okay, so is C-score or standard score for the value is obtained by subtracting the mean from the value and dividing the result by the standard deviation. Okay, the symbol for standard score is Z. Okay, so in standard score, okay, first thing that we need to have, okay, is the mean and then the standard deviation. So for example, what I have said in English and in mathematics score, so first thing to consider is to get the mean of the mean of the English and then the standard score of the standard deviation rather of the score in English. So same thing like something same thing with mathematics. Okay, so we need to get the mean of the whole score and then the standard deviation of the whole score. Okay, so for the formula, okay, z is equal to value minus mean all over the standard deviation. Okay, so for example, the formula is this one. Okay, z is equals to x minus x bar over the standard deviation. For the population, okay, so formula is z is equals to x minus the population mean all over the population standard deviation. Okay, so again, for example, The formula is z is equals to x minus d. Okay, the sample mean over the sample standard deviation. And then for the population, we have z is equal to x minus population mean over population standard deviation. Okay, so this score represents the number of standard deviation that the data value falls above and below the mean. So if you're going to recall the skewness, diba, dun sa normal distribution, yung mean, ito yung pinaka-middle point. And even sa data, alam natin na ang mean, ito yung pinaka-middle. Okay, so si z-score, i-identify niya yung location ng score mo. Okay, kung ito ba ay below the mean or above the mean. Okay, the standard score or z-score tell you how many standard deviation and the data value is above or below the mean for the specific distribution of the value. So okay, if your score or the z-score is 0, it means that the data value is the same as the mean. So for example, kung score mo kung standard score or z-score ng score mo sa English ay 0, so ibig sabihin nun, yung score mo na yon ay equal sa mean. Okay, or sa mean ng sa mean ng English or mathematics. Okay, so for example, okay, so let's have the test scores. So a student scored 65 on a calculus test that had a mean of 50 and a standard deviation of 10. She scored 30 on a history test with a mean of 25 and standard deviation of 5. So let's compare her relative position on the two tests. So we're going to compare their score directly. So we can say na mas mataas yung score niya sa calculus because 65 yung score niya sa calculus pero 30 lang dito sa history. Okay, sabihin ang galing-galing niya sa calculus, di ba? Okay, so let's see if we're going to use the standard score. Titingnan natin yung standard score ng mga scores na to. Okay, so let's start with find the z-score for calculus. Okay, so we have z is equals to x minus x bar over standard deviation or sample standard deviation. So we have 65 as our raw score or the value minus 50, which is the mean, and then over 10, which is the standard deviation. Okay, and that is equals to 1.5. Okay, next, let's find the z-score of history. For history, okay, we have z is equals to x minus x bar over z is equal to 30 minus 25 over 5, and that is equal to 1.5. Okay, so ito yung nakuha natin z-score. So since the score for calculus is larger, her relative position in calculus class is higher than the relative position in history. Okay, so ibig sabihin, mas magaling talaga siya sa calculus kesa sa history. Okay, so some example, yung naging example ko before when I was teaching in statistics in grade 11 senior high school. So kinumpare namin yung English and then yung math. Ay sabi ko nga, ang akala mo magaling ka sa English, yung pala magaling ka sa math. Depende sa score and then depende sa mean and then standard deviation ng specific subject. So note that if this score is positive, okay, so the score is above the mean. Okay, so itong 1.5 to 1.0, they are both positive, so therefore they are in the positive side, or they are above the mean. So if this is our number line, okay, if this is our number line and this is the mean, ito yung x bar natin. Okay, yung 1.5, for example, ito si 1, ito si 2, 1, and then 2. So, since positive siya, nandito yung relative position ni 1.5. Okay, ito naman, or ni calculus. At ito naman yung relative position ni history. So, mas mataas pa rin talaga si calculus kesa sa history. Okay, so percentile. So, percentiles divide the dataset into 100 equal parts or groups. Okay, so percentiles are symbolized by p sub 1, p sub 2, p sub 3 up to p sub 99 and divide the distribution into 100 groups. So, bakit hindi kasama si p sub 100? Kasi si p sub 100, siya na yung pinaka-last value ng distribution. Okay, so ito to. So, we have the smallest value, dito value. Okay, so ito si p sub 1 up to p sub 99. So, nandito si p sub 100. So, those are all 1% up to 100. Okay, so iyan yung itsura nun. Okay, so for formula, the percentile corresponds to the given value x is computed by using the following formula. Okay, percentile is equals to the number of values below x, okay, plus 0.5 over the total number of values multiplied by 100. So, itong number of values below x, bibilangin natin yon. Okay, so ilan ba yung values below x? Excluded sa x, ha? Okay. So, for example, test score. Okay, the teacher gives a 20-point test to 10 students, and the score are shown here. So, find the percentile rank of the score of 12. Okay, so we have, these are the scores of 10 students. We have 18, 15, 12, 6, 8, 2, 3, 5, 20, and then 10. Okay, so for the solution, so arrange the data in order from lowest to highest. Okay, so we have 2, 3, 5, 6, 8, 10, 12, 15, 18, 20. So why we need to arrange it in lowest from highest to lowest? Because from here we can easily identify the position and we can easily count. Okay, sa ayan talaga yung pinaka-proper, okay, way to represent the data. Arrange it from lowest to highest. Okay, next is then substitute it to the formula. Okay, so dito find the rank or the percentile rank of score of 12. So, nandito si score of 12. Nandito. So, ano kaya ang percentile rank niya? Okay, so substitute natin sa formula. Percentile is equals to number numbers of value below x. Okay, so ilan ba yung values below x? So, yung x natin is 12. Bilangin natin kung ilan. So, we have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. So, therefore, the number of values below x is 6. Okay, plus 0.5 over the total number of values. Ilan to lahat? Diba 10? Okay, so substitute natin yon. We have percentile, okay, is equals to 6 plus 0.5 over 10 multiplied by 100 is equals to 6. Okay, so 60th percentile. So, ibig sabihin, etong sa 12 ay nasa 60th percentile position or rank ng mga scores na yan. So, that's the student who scores 12 did better than 65% of the class. Ibig sabihin, wala sa 12, okay, 60% rather. Okay, mula sa 12 pataas, yun yung nag-did better. 60% of the class did better. Okay, having the score of 12. Okay, another example. Okay, using this test score in the previous example, find the values corresponding to 25th percentile. So dito baligtad naman. Kanina hinahanap natin yung percentile rank. Dito hahanapin natin yung value where where 25th percentile be located. Ano kaya yung value kung saan ang nakalocate si 25th percentile? Okay, so for the solution, again, arrange in order from lowest to highest. The data in order, so yun na yun. Okay, from here, we're going to identify the 25th percentile. Okay, so to compute, okay, so this is the formula that we're about to use. So we have C is equals to N multiplied by P over 100. Okay, yung N na to ay yung total number of values at yung P naman is the percentile. So dito yung percentile natin is 25. At yung N natin ay 10. Okay, kasi 10 yung total number of datas natin. Okay, so substitute all the given. We have 10 multiplied by 25 over 100 and that is 2.5. Okay, so sabi rito, if C is not a whole number, round it up. Again, round it up. I-round natin siya pataas to the next whole number. In this case 3. So for example, so in this case this is 2.5. So pag sinabi natin round off natin yan, okay, so that is 3. What if 2.1? Okay, 2.1. Pag sinabi round it up, okay, basta may decimal place siya na higher than 0 or 1 pataas, okay, i-round off natin siya sa 3. So in this case, we have 2.5, round it up to the next whole number. So we have 3. So starting to the lowest value and count over the third value, which is 5. Hence, the value 5 corresponds to 25th percentiles. So sabi dito, from the lowest value, magbibilang tayo ng 3. You have 1, 2, 3. And that is equal to 5. So therefore, if we're going to locate 25th percentile, yung value niya is 5. Okay. Next, the quartile. Quartile divide the distribution into 4 groups separated by Q sub 1, Q sub 2, Q sub 3. Okay, so note that Q sub 1 is the same as 25th percentile. Q sub 2 is the same as 50th percentile, or the median, and Q sub 3 corresponds to 57th percentile. Okay, as shown as this one. Okay, so smallest value, ito sa Q sub 1 of the first quartile, ito naman sa second quartile, and ito naman yung third quartile natin. Okay, so yung bawat hati niyan is 25%. Okay, kaya from here, mula dito, sa first quartile natin, so 25% yun. From the lowest value up to second quartile, okay, ang value niyan ay 50%. Okay, and then from the lowest value of the third quartile, okay, ang value niyan is 75th percentile. So, yung ibig sabihin na nasa taas na yon. Okay, so for example, okay, find the first quartile, second quartile, and then third quartile of the data sets 15, 13, 6, 5, 12, 50, 22, and then 18. Okay, for the solution, okay, again, arrange the data in order from lowest to highest. So we have 5, 6, 12, 13, 15, 18, 22, and then 50. Okay, so find the median. So why do we need to find first the median? So later, bakit kailangan una si second quartile? So mamaya papakita ko sa inyo kung bakit. So let's find first the median. Okay. So locate natin si median. So nasan ba? Ilan ba to? 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. So 8 divided by 2 is 4. So 1, 2, 3, 4. Okay, kaya lang may nasa pagitan siya ng 13 and then 15. Okay. So ang gagawin natin, okay, so going to add those, kunin natin yung midpoint niya, or median niya. We have 13 plus 15 over 2. Okay, so that is equal to 28 over 2 and equals to 14. Okay, yung median niya, yung second quartile niya is 14. Okay, next, so find the median value less than 14 rather. So what are those? So those are 5, 6, 12, and then 13. So again, find the median. Hanapin natin yung median that is in between 6 and 12. So that is the median. We find its median by adding that 2 and divided by 2. So we have 6 plus 12 over 2, and that is 18 over 2, and it is equal to 9. And that is our first quartile. Okay, yung second quartile natin is 14, and the first quartile natin is 9. Okay, step number 4, find the median value greater than 14. So what are those? Those are 15, 18, 22, and then 50. So what is the median? It is in between 18 and then 22. Yan, ito yung median. So get the median by adding those two numbers or two values and divide by 2. That is 18 plus 22 over 2. It is equal to 40 over 2, and 40 over 2 is equal to 20. So that is our third quartile. Okay. So hence the first quartile is 9, the second quartile is 14, and then the third quartile is 20. Okay, next, decile. So decile divide the distribution into 10 groups, shown as shown. Okay, so they are denoted by first decile, second decile, third decile, etc. hanggang 10th decile. Okay, so ito yon. First decile, second decile, okay, up to 9th decile. Okay, then note that the first decile correspond to 10 percentile. Okay, so second decile corresponds to 20 percentile, 20th percentile. So, ano na yun? Ibig sabihin, si third decile is equivalent or corresponds to 30th percentile. So, decile can be found by using the formula given for percentile. Taken all together, then these are the relationship among percentile, decile, and then quartile. So, sa decile, hindi tayo gagamit ng ibang formula dan. Yung formula na gagamitin natin to get the decile, okay, yung ano din, yung sa percentile din. Okay, kaya lang by tens. Okay, so kung si first decile, so correspond siya sa 10 percentile. Kung si fifth decile, correspond siya sa 50th. Okay, 50th percentile. Kung si 7th decile, correspond siya sa 70th percentile. So, yun lang gagamitin natin formula. Okay, so outliers. Okay, so what is outliers? So, outliers is an extremely high or extremely low data value when compared with the rest of the values or data values. So, si outliers, ito yung value kung saan napakaliit at napakalaki. At kung minsan lumalagpas na siya, okay, lumalagpas na siya sa talagang boundary niya. Okay, so procedure for identifying outliers. Okay, so arrange the data in order and find the first quartile and then the third quartile. Okay, find the interquartile range. The interquartile range is equal to third quartile minus the first quartile. Okay, so multiply the interquartile range by 1.5. Okay, then subtract the value obtained from step number 3 from first quartile and then add the value to third quartile. So, after natin multiply yung interquartile range by 1.5, magmaminus tayo na, i-minus natin siya sa first quartile, pero i-add naman natin siya sa third quartile. And then, check the data set for any data value that is smaller than, okay, first quartile plus the interquartile range multiplied by 1.5 or larger than the third quartile plus 1.5 multiplied by interquartile change. Okay, so kapag ang dataset ay nasa loob ng pagitan ng first quartile plus 1.5 multiplied by interquartile range and third quartile plus 1.5 multiplied by interquartile change. Kapag nasa loob yon, ibig sabihin kasama, hindi siya outlier. Pero kapag ito naman ay mas mataas or nasa labas ng range na yon, okay, ang tawag doon ay outlier. Okay, so example tayo, check the following data set for outliers. So we have 5, 6, 12, 13, 15, 18, 22, and then 50. So this is our example a while ago. Okay, so solution, arrange the data in order and find the first quartile and then the third quartile. Okay, so yung computation natin kanina, yung first quartile is equals to 9 and then the third quartile is 20. So let's find the interquartile range by subtracting 9 from 20. So that is 20 minus 9 is equals to 11. So that is our interquartile range. Okay, after that, multiply the interquartile range by 1.5. Okay, we have 1.5 multiplied by 11, so that is 16.5. What are we going to do next? Okay, so step number 4, subtract the value obtained in step 3 from first quartile and then add the value to the third quartile. Okay, we have 9 minus 16.5 is equals to 7.5 and 20 plus 16.5, we have 36.5. Okay, so check the data set for any data values that falls outside the interval from 7.5 to 36.5, and the value is 50. The value 50 is outside this interval, hence it is considered outliers. So siya na si outliers. Okay, so that's all for today. Thank you for listening. God bless.